So today I'm going to take a few minutes and talk about the all or nothing mentality in regards to food choices, particularly the use of the terms good food and bad food. Now, when I say bad food, I think some things pretty quickly pop into your head: cake, cookies, ice cream, pizza, French fries, soda. Lots of delicious things. I can certainly pick a few things, most of those things on that list as things I enjoy. But when we label those as bad, we moralize those foods. And when we eat them, we may have feelings of guilt, of shame. We may feel like a failure when we eat those foods. So what happens is we decide to restrict those foods. We say, you know what, I'm not going to eat ice cream or whatever it is. Now, you may find some success with that short term. Like you may be able to abstain from the quote unquote bad food for weeks, for months. But what eventually happens is we give into the cravings. And a lot of times what happens is we overindulge in those foods because we've just been away from them for so long. And that brings in those feelings of guilt, shame. And then that whole cycle continues again. So what's the solution? Instead of the good or bad labels, I'd like you to think of your food choices this way: as foods you should eat more of, foods you should eat less of. Good foods, again, I think it's pretty easy to come up with the quote unquote good foods: chicken breast, broccoli, fruits, vegetables, the good food. Think of those things, instead of labeling those as good foods, think of those things you should eat, think of them as foods you should eat more of. And the bad foods that we talked about, think of those as foods you should eat less of. I like the analogy of a light switch here. So the all or nothing, the good or bad thinking, is just that on or off switch. Now, if this new way of thinking, this new mindset with your approach to food, I'd rather you think about it as a dimmer switch, more, less, with a lot of gray area there in between. So what this does is it gives you choices. It gives you flexibility. I heard a great quote the other day, it's that rigidity, all or nothing, good or bad thinking, is the enemy of consistency, and it makes total sense. When you have choices, when you're able to be flexible, that's when you're going to see those consistent, sustainable results. Food is fun. Food is not just fuel. We use food to celebrate. Food brings us pleasure. So when we have choices, we enjoy life more, and you're going to see more success if you change your mindset this way. It's going to be tough. There's a lot of baggage that comes with food, so it's not something that can happen overnight. But I challenge you to try to change that mindset. Again, foods you should eat more of, food you should eat less of. You can see success, including cake, ice cream, in your diet. Again, we can't overindulge in these, but a little bit here and there will ultimately lead you to a better, happier relationship with food. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have about this. Hit us up in the Facebook group, email us, ask me at the gym. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you around.